Hello. That looks stupid. Our exclamation point is too big. Yeah, just whatever. Forget the exclamation point. Don't need a freaking exclamation point. So, I've got Nefyadov. Chapter 2 was somebody. What is chapter 2? What is chapter 2? Someone sent me. Okay, that's Sun Prism. Let me see. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the stream. Move 11. The point. Move 11 is here. Are you here? Really here? Is it really you? Taktikush. No, that's Taktikush. That's different. All right, so Mad NPC. Please let me know if you're already familiar with this game. Oh. First game is fine. So, the Mad NPC is a subscriber, correct? You are a subscriber. You better be subscribers. We're taking subscriber submissions for the stream. Man NPC, Snedsteg, Afrikaner Open, game submitted. Queen takes b5. Will that go in? Alright, will that go in? Add a new chapter. Paste. I usually put these in earlier. Yeah, see, that's the problem. It says, no, that's not going to fly because that, he sent me that with the asterisk in the result. Asterisks and asterisks result won't fly in PGN notation. So let's see. Can we correct this? Chapter 4, delete, add a new chapter, paste, and then we gotta fix the results. So queen takes b5, I don't know. Black resigns. 1-0. Will that work? No, it still doesn't work. What is the problem? There must be some other problem. Alright, let me delete. Guys, it's simple PGN. It's not that hard. What's wrong with this? What else is wrong? There's some text in there. Why is this not flying? I wouldn't accept this game. If I just get rid of the asterisk, it still doesn't fly. What the fuck? Something wrong with your PGN, bro. Let's take a look. What could possibly be wrong with this PGN? It looks reasonable to me. I don't get it. Oh, because there's a bracket missing in the front, you think? Bracket missing in the front. Let's try to fix that. Copy. Alright. You guys, delete. Little details. Add a new chapter. Paste. Someone has to find an easier way to do PGN. You missed your bracket. Now, I'd like to find it on a Hungarian keyboard. Nope. Good luck finding it. Is it like control, function, alt, function? Where's my fucking function? Shift, tab. Oh my god, what am I doing? Whatever, I'll copy and paste this. I'll copy and paste the fucking bracket. There, copy. God, you guys make life so hard for me. Why do you do that? Now it worked. One bracket missing. And the PGN won't go through. You know, that's so stupid. We need a new system. All right. I'm a genius. I figured it out. So, Mad NPC, Asterbait. Asterbait is first. Here we go. Dumb Cheapo. Sorry, guys. I'm not paying attention to the chat. We'll be right with you. Get PGN. Wow, Mad NPC with double games this week. Why don't we do this a different way? I don't think I can. That's the problem. Alright. Download. I could do it that way. We can always do it that way. That's just as bad. Whatever. Copy. Copy. And paste. Okay, guys. Man, everything is so hard. Got all the times in there and stuff. Asterbait, you go first. Chapter 2 is Prongcism. I had a nap about 3 hours ago, and I'm still recovering from the nap, but at least I'm awake. I've got my coffee. I'm going to have coffee at 6 p.m. Great. I'm going to have... All week I've had insomnia. It's going to happen again tonight. So I'll be up until 5 in the morning, not a problem. It might affect tomorrow's like midday stream. What's with all the research on me? Yeah. So, is my camera frozen? It's interesting if you watch the Twitch and YouTube side by side. It looks like YouTube is slower. There's more delay in the YouTube. It's weird. Alright, so I've got Mad NPC, Pavel Nefedov, Asterbait, Pavel Nefedov, Sun Prism, Mad NPC, and then Sensteg. And I still feel like there's someone else who submitted a game. I think there was. Someone's not showing up here. Yeah, why am I not seeing... I believe it was Redusa. When you go to inbox, isn't that weird? Sometimes things don't go through. You see Morales and Redusa are in there. So Redusa sent me a game. It doesn't show up in all my messaging. They need to reboot the whole... It's like the ICE needs to be eliminated, and then there needs to be a new organization created. We need to eliminate all the messaging system on Lichess and then build it back from the beginning because it sucks. Let's see. So, get PGN. Here we go with this again. This massive, exaggerated PGN. Copy. Some people are like shadow chat banned, so you can't see their messages. Don't understand why. Morales as well. It's not coming through if I look at the shortcut. Oh, there it is. It is there. Okay. Morales is there. Alright. So just Redusa is like shadow banned. Get PGN. Another one. 3 Mile Island PGN. Copy. Guys, I'm just waking up. So, it's Thursday already. Good. Guys, we need your support. Don't forget to donate. I've got Move 11 with no input. Move 11 he just stops by with a token hello and then leaves. Alright. Welcome everyone to the stream. Gather around, kiddies for analysis stream. I've got alcohol fry. Alkoholfrei. Alkoholfrei stream. Roll mops are pickled herrings. I have German translators, very accessible to me. So, gobble roll mops is like pickled herring on a fork or something like that. Now we know all the secrets, so don't try to make some tricky name with German. All right, let's start with Astrobait versus MPC. So, obviously proud. I have not seen this game. What the? Astrobait played the Caro-Kann? This is insane. Wow, when was this played? This was unbelievable in the bleeping Blitz arena. Astrobait played the Caro-Kann. Oh my god, it must have been a mouse slip. There's a meme. Somebody made a blog about that, didn't they? No. I know what it was. Not a blog, but I saw a meme on Facebook from a chess player who literally posted a meme about being a Sicilian player when you accidentally play the Caro-Kann. Oh my god. Dude, that's totally what happened here. He picked up the c-pawn and accidentally put it on c6 instead of c5. He doesn't play the Caro-Kann. This is a Sicilian player accidentally playing the Caro-Kann with a mouse slip. Life is too short. Yeah, let's change our... Yeah, it was a mouse slip. I know. Life is too short to play the Caro-Kann. Hold on. I know everything about you, Astrobait. You haven't bid off the property in 2 years. Alright. Well, if I come to Vegas, gonna have to meet me for a buffet dinner or something. All right, so we're gonna go to the best buffet in Vegas. Get some buffet prime rib. Okay, e4, c6, d4, d5, e5, and Astrobait playing the Caro-Kann. Black's best moves are bishop f5 and c5. Sometimes you see people do weird stuff like knight a6, knight h6. Magnus played that g6, f6. All these other moves that are bad, but e6. I said that. b6 maybe, but I've never seen anyone play this. How bad can it be though? I mean, e6 is probably not good. The knight actually supports pressure on e5. You could theoretically play f6, I guess. On e6, then I can go to b6. It may not be that bad compared to analysis. According to this, says the c5 is best. I would seriously debate that. I don't think that c5 is best. I mean, on a very fast computer, wow. This computer supports this c5. Well, it's going to bishop f5. I don't know. It's very close. It's very close. I always thought that bishop f5 still remains best. I believe in fundamental principles. It's close, but the claim that c5 is better than bishop f5 by the engine analysis here is probably somebody's like, I don't know, not so deep computer analysis. Knight d7. All right, let's go on. So knight f3 now. Now the most principled move is f4. I would argue. Doubling down on dumb. Having said that, it's not the only good move for white. You know, I guess there are some downsides. I could try knight b6, and I could try to set up this delayed development of the bishop. That's one interesting thing about knight d7. You can put the knight on b6, not a great square. Very bad square. Very bad square. Who am I being? All right, knight f3, and then, well, again, I feel like this is, Asube actually, move 11 is suggesting maybe some sort of c5. You could still do a c5, like a deferred, just that your knight is on d7, kind of suboptimal. I mean, the idea would be to play e6. We transpose to some weird variation. You know, it's funny. So, you know, ultimately, maybe knight d7 isn't that bad. I'm not sure move 11, that's what you were talking about, but you mentioned the c5. So the knight isn't actually blocking the bishop permanently. It can move to b6 and let it out. Plus, we still have c5. So Asube does it. He plays c5. This is Sicilian player playing the Caro-Kann. And the knight is better on c6, you know, in most cases, but the other knight can always come to c6 later. So white plays d takes c5. It's very hard to say what white's best move is here. You know, I have no freaking clue. I think that actually, move 11, you're the one. You like playing the white side of the Caro-Kann advanced variation. I can't play it, you know. I try to play it and I'm like a moron. It's like a big learning curve, I think. Very complex advanced Caro-Kann, you know, for both sides. I can play it okay with black, but with white I'm like an idiot. I'd overextend myself and I don't know what I'm doing. It takes a lot of practice, but if you have like 5 seconds, you have to answer a question. What is white's best move in this position? You know, I know Morales would play c3. I know a lot of people will play c3. Is that objectively white's best move? I don't think so. You know, it's too passive. Okay, white is a little restrained by the knight being on f3, but I mean, I guess we could play bishop e3. This move is sharper. There's the totally insane c4. And then, you know, routine development with bishop e2. What are your candidate moves here? Knight c3, there's another one. Knight c3, bishop e3, d takes c5, bishop e2, that's 4. 4 candidate moves. And then Rudolf Spielmann. Rudolf Spielmann always needs to be considered, so 5. 5 candidate moves for white. Plus c3 is 6. So we got c3, knight c3, you know, c3, knight c3, bishop e2, e6, c4, or d takes c5. 5, 6 candidate moves. And how do you decide like which one is the best with white? c4 was best. It's a fucking Albin counter gambit after c4, right? That's the entire plan of the advanced Caro-Kann, to play for c4. One of the reasons why I really don't like c3 Morales is because if you play c3, you can't play c4, or you're gonna have to play. You're gonna lose a move. It's hard to know though. You know, I mean, if you played this, that's interesting. If you played, you know, I don't really like bishop b5. A lot of beginners would play that. All right, whatever. Takes is not a bad move, despite what the computer says. Because knight takes is suboptimal. Sub-zero. Well, why is knight takes suboptimal? Because we're moving the same piece twice. Maybe we can pick the pawn up with the bishop. So I'm supporting this. There's a problem, though. You know, it looks like c4 is pretty good. Again. Crunching that pawn on d5. There's an interesting line here. Gulyaev's... This Gulyaev. The old Gulyaev. There's a different Gulyaevs. There's Logman Gulyaev. I don't know how many Gulyaevs there are. The Gulyaev. Isn't he in Fallout? The TV show? Gulyaev? It's not Gulyaev, it's Gulyaev. Alright, I know. Knight e7. L.B. Hansen and Sarhan Gulyaev. See, that's a brilliant move. Because our plan was to go here anyway. You can take with a knight. Anyway, whatever. Astrobate, knight takes c5. It's the obvious move to play, but it's not necessarily the best. And now white plays bishop e5 check, which is a materialistic approach. Do you want to win a pawn? I have 4 viewers. Oh no, I didn't activate. Oh no, I didn't activate my stream. Oh no, this happened again. Wait a minute. Force online check. I'm afraid I didn't activate my stream. If anybody's interested in lessons, I just raised my rate today. So you can lock in the old rate if you subscribe to lessons now. I realize that like all these like losers are teaching lessons for like $75 an hour, and I'm charging less. I mean, I can't continue to do that. Why am I here? All right, I'm not gonna have like losers charging like more than me. So, all right. Lock in your new rate now. I teach lessons, I play chess, I play poker, I drink alcohol. What else do I do? I'm a political pundit. Punter. Where's my freaking simuls? Yeah, 468 simuls. Alright. Interesting. January 6th analysis. So bishop e5 check. Bro, are you going to take this pawn on d5? Because if you're not, then I don't recommend bishop e5 check. Mad NPC. If you're not going to take this pawn, taking the pawn is the whole fucking point, right? So I take the pawn. Black now can play either bishop takes b5, queen takes c5. Maybe black has another move. Queen a5 check doesn't seem to do anything. I just go here. I mean, it's a fancy way of playing variation A. I thought the point, man, NPC is to play bishop b5 check, queen takes d5. You cut black's defense off of d5. It's a tactical motif. Interference. Right? Queen takes d5. The problem is, man NPC didn't play bishop b5 check for that reason, but the problem is you're trading off Acerbate's bad bishop for your good bishop. Advance Caro-Kann. We don't want to trade this bishop for this bishop because that's black's bad bishop. So the only justification is a tactical one where you play queen takes d5. Now if e6, bishop takes d7 check. Now maybe black could try to not trade queens like knight takes d7, but he does know that's another pawn. You can't do that. He has to trade queens too. And then after this, black's just down a pawn. So, very bad. Bishop d7. And so, very bad move by man NPC not taking the pawn. Now, knight c3, also very bad, because now you have the Varusian, Jacobian, French defense super pawn that will never, ever, 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 ever leave the board. You know, you're actually taking away your own c4, which is the whole point for white, you know, to destroy d5 ultimately in the advanced Caro-Kann. No one knows that, but it's true. That's why c4 is so good. That's why this move, knight f3, c5, c4, it's bye-bye, Mr. Central Pawn. By the way, here's a question, guys. If I take on c4, what is white's next move? Do you take with bishop takes c4, or do you go d5 here? It's like an Alekhines defense. It's a really crazy Alekhines defense. I mean, if d5, knight b6, knight c3, what's the vow? +2. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good, master. So black shouldn't take on c4 and abandon the center. But you guys get the point, right? You get the point, Mikhail Tal. c4 knocks out black's strong point on d5. You knock out strong point, you good. Okay, anyway. So, we go on. Very bad move. Because black can now play e6. Azerbaijan could consider trading bishops. Because, like, what happens if you go e6 and dude wakes up and he's like, wait, I'm an idiot. I'm going to bring my bishop back to d3. Seriously, what if man NPC just decides he's had enough of this bullshit and plays bishop d3? What do you think about that? How do you like that cliche, right? Because if you're going to trade your bishop for a piece, maybe it's better to trade for the active knight than the bad bishop on d7. To lose a tempo? If you really want to, you could go back to e2, but I don't know where your knight's going from c3. The knight's only maneuver is over to e2. Possibly knight b5. If you get castled, you could play knight b5 back to d4. And Azerbaijan's knight remains kind of stupid. I mean, you could put it on e4. We'll see. But anyways, so e6 is an interesting game. Castles. And now Azerbaijan, you absolutely need to consider trading here. But, you know, on the other hand, you're fixing his problem if you do that. Like, I'm just alluding to this. But if you do this, you help his knight kind of, like, get to a good position. So, ironically, there's a element to Azerbaijan's play that makes a lot of sense here. Even though this is a good exchange for him, he doesn't want to help white's knight go to a good square. So, knight e7... it's a good move. And you have a lot of options for that knight. And now bishop g5. A natural move, an active move, but not a very effective move. Typically a mistake in the advanced Caro-Kann. If black doesn't panic here, what should he do? Break the pin, I would assume. I don't think that bishop g5 is that bad, you know, because black doesn't have a great answer. There's some kind of neutral move, I guess. Queen c7. Queen c7, bishop e2, a6, you know, something like that, maybe. Azerbaijan kind of falls into the obvious trap here with h6, and I think this is wrong. Bishop is not well placed. This is a badly placed piece, honestly, on g5. Why is it bad? Well, first of all, the knight would do more damage there. So the knight can't go to g5. So I think you leave the bishop on g5. You say, thank you for putting your bishop on g5 because it's not really hurting me. I'm just going to go here, and then I can go wherever I want, over there, over there, over there. Leave the bishop on g5. He's an idiot. He's not playing with the rest of the children. He's just off in the corner doing his own thing. So leave him there and go about your business. I think that h6 is a gut reaction. It's a fast game, right? This is a blitz game. We normally don't analyze blitz games here because of this. They're all crap, mostly crap. These guys have limited amount of time, so they're making mistakes. Bishop h4. I don't think you have a great move, but I guess if I have to, I would probably say bishop f4. Because you can really overprotect this pawn on e5. Okay, how bad is bishop h4? It's not that bad. Bishop e3 is probably bad. If you go to e3, you get hit immediately by knight f5, and I think that's stupid. So clearly that's a mistake. So it's the question of bishop f4, bishop h4. But f4 protects the e5 pawn. This pin doesn't really do anything. And I think you're going to get hit by knight f5 later. So if I go here, what do? Azerbai's threatening knight f5. But Azerbait got suckered into playing g5. Very weakening move. Very nice country. I like them. I really like the Danish people. But they're going to give me Greenland. One way or the other. Really nice people. I like them a lot. I'm going to build a golf course on Greenland. Alright, so g5. You're like, is he crazy? g5, bishop g3, and knight f5. See, this is what I'm talking about. What is Man NPC doing? He's got his knight on c3. It's going to have to retool itself back to e2. Now he's put his bishop on g3. Bad bishop. But I still think it's a valuable piece. Azerbait can go bishop g7 and start to put pressure on the e5 pawn. Check, whatever. And now the computer doesn't like queen takes d7, but I mean, come on, man. I can't give this dubious. You have access to a4, you have access to this square, whatever. Okay. Now knight d4, which is reasonable. And Azerbait now is confronted with the reality of, he makes the right decision. He takes the bad bishop, and now white has to decide which way to take. White also has the threats of knight b5 in some cases. Of course, it's not going to matter if black has bishop g7. It's an interesting game. This is what a lot of idiots would play. I think it's very anti-positional. You're like, your e5 pawn is gone. And yeah, NPC didn't subscribe to that garbage. He takes toward the center, h takes g. And now Azerbait has this bishop where it has the option to go either way. But I'm a little bit concerned about f4. f4 is freaking obvious, right? And he's going to do it. There's also this coming in here. So I just want to point out that there's no shame in playing like bishop e7, where the bishop looks both ways. I like putting pressure on e5, but if you can't take it out, you also should consider bishop e7. But let's see. After this, we force f4 or some sort of defensive move. We have to watch knight b5, but we can take on e5. So he's probably going to defend e5. If he defends e5, let's just say rook e1. What would you play now? What would you play now, Azerbait? Would you castle kingside? I ask you because it's an important question. g5 would make more sense if black was already castle queenside. I don't like h6 and g5. I wouldn't even touch those pawns. But, at the end of the day, it's a way of artificially isolating the e5 pawn. So I think you castle kingside and you try to play f6. but it looks like some kind of crazy Trompowsky. I mean, white has access to like h5. Things are very complicated. I don't know what I would do here. I mean, this move needs to be seriously considered. It might be more solid than bishop g7. Plus, like, b4 could be thrown in at any time. Bishop g7, f4. And now, Asterbate plays a really interesting move, honestly. Which I hadn't considered, but it makes some sense. Unbelievable idea. This is very nasty. Probably Asterbate's move is no good. But it's creative. You know, with this move, you stop queen h5. You're actually threatening to undermine white's pawn chain with h5, h4. And I would say this, like, if you had a6 in, like, if a6 was on board and there was no knight b5 and no knight d6 check, I would like this better. Like, I understand this looks okay. You know, this looks pretty good. We're threatening h4. You know, it's very sharp. I mean, white could also do stuff like queen g4 if you play h4. But I think we, on balance, yeah, we shouldn't do h5. There's not enough time. I play a6. Maybe, yeah, a6. You kind of have to, I think, here. You could exchange pawns, but what's the upside? I don't really get the upside of exchanging pawns. And you're going to have to guard this b5 square. So I think the move is a6. and then h5 and he misses it. You know, this is very strong. Mana PC has to improve his opportunistic tactical play. Because he's getting positions where he has chances, but he's oftentimes missing the tactical solution. So you didn't exploit Asterbate's mistake, and you took here. And this is bad on multiple levels. You're losing your central pawn. I don't know where your attack is. G3 is weak. And you missed knight b5. So it's all around bad. Bishop takes e5. And now, you know, okay, white is worse. Black has taken over the center. Black can still castle queenside. And white's king is suddenly in danger. So this is a really big mistake after h5. Just go here. And now black is clearly better. And now Asterbate, yeah, goes in. And that became a strong piece. White tries to hunker down. And a good game by Asterbate. What's this? You're trading the knight on f4 because the bishop's hit. Mm-hmm. But it's a pity, isn't it? It's a pity to trade that bishop. What's up, guys? Linda Johnson. No, this is one of Asterbate's best games in a while. Ironically, he played the Caro-Kann by mistake. He mouse slipped 1 c6. And somehow I think playing a new position sort of inspired him. So instead of sacrificing your bishop for the knight, one thing that Asterbate may not have thought of is just going back. You know, you just go back. And now you have like 2 monster pieces on e5 and... What's the point, right? We're going here and it's over. I mean, wait. All of black's pieces are active and he dominates the center. But when this happens, you know, it's going to be clearly over. Okay, white has like g6. You could take, you know? I mean, no rush. So this is a little bit of inaccuracy, giving up the powerful bishop for the knight for no reason. Oh, I see. Okay, I take it back. He had an idea. He had a good idea. No, he didn't. No, he thought he had e5. Oh no. Never mind. It's not a good idea. Yeah, he thought he had a fork, but this is no good. So you blundered a central pawn. Wow. Oh my god. And black's still winning, but it's much closer. And now h3. Threatening h2 check. Unbelievable. Coherent. Not a lot of good options here for white. It looks like almost zero. Knight f3. h3 is amazingly strong. Knight f3, pawn takes pawn. Threatening queen h3 check. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes. This is a disaster, bro. So he plays rook f3. And then h2. And then we suck the king out to the center. You could obviously just promote here. But he doesn't rush. Gets a queen. It's over. It should be over. We're up a rook. And that's not clear. You have rook e8. No, this is not clear. So here, I need to know. There's a problem with d4 check. Well, lots of problems with d4 check. What if he played king takes? What are you going to do? Oh, no. Are we winning? Rook e1 check. Knight e3. Okay, we're just winning. Okay, so he had to do this. Pawn takes. And there's no mate. There's no mate. You traded queens. All right, very good. No, this is a good game by Asterbane. You know, this was a good game overall. Mad PC played it a below average game for him, but Asterbane really rose to the occasion here. Clearly, it's impressive. I think, despite mistakes, it was all very coherent. Like you said, that's a perfect word. Why do I have 7 viewers? Oh, that's too many. All right, everybody likes analysis stream. I'm gonna change the name of the title. The title of the stream to Life's Too Short. Play the Caro-Kann. That's popular. Life's too short to play the Caro-Kann. Dude, Liff. It's really bad that I have a... It's really bad that I have this crappy keyboard. It's broken. Caro apostrophe Khan. What a stupid opening. Alright, so second game. Nefedov's not here. Maybe we should start with Sun Prism. That was a good game, man. Seriously. Welcome back, Bob. Bob Johnson. Guys, we're trying to raise money for the World Senior Team Championship 50 Plus Fund. I'm going to Albania in April. So if you donate, your donations will go directly to support my travels to Albania mid-April of this year. Just in time for tax season. Nefedov is not here. Wojtash. I don't know why Wojtash is so familiar. Wojtash. It's a common, like, Polish name. Alright, so Nefedov is white, playing under the British flag. Danny Gormally was talking about how in the UK they have a 30-plus tournament. I was like, that's crazy. 30-plus. Wouldn't want to play those, like, whatever generation it is. Alright. I don't mind playing 20-year-olds. I'm not as bad as some people. Lyndon Johnson. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is a lot of title players have lost all their rating points to little kids from India, you know. And it's like, it's enough. The rating system is broken, and I want to get my points back. last year I went under 2300 because of playing a tournament I didn't want to play in. This time last year I lost like 17 rating points, and I still haven't gotten most of them back. So we're not going to do that anymore. I might be able to get some points back in the Hungarian Team Championship. And in addition to hating playing little kids, I hate playing in the morning. So the best is when I get to play little kids in the morning. That's really ideal. That's what I had last year. They were not like little kids, but they were still like a lot of teenagers and stuff. Okay, so Nefedov is white. E4, C5. By the way, I have this theory, Bob, that it's not actually better to play in the senior tournaments, because I realized that there's a problem. Although it's better to not play kids, the seniors have lost all their points. So there's no points to get. You know what I mean? Like, this is actually really tough if you're playing senior tournaments. I've come to learn. Since everyone already lost all their points, what you got to do is, like, there's a few seniors have, like, put the rating in the freezer. Like last year at the World Senior, there was this one guy in the 65 plus. What's his name? Anyway, there was one player in the 65 plus who hadn't played in like 20 years. If you're lucky, you catch some guy who's been in the ratings freezer for like 20 years, and everyone just like mauls him like a swarm of piranhas, and just there's just this carcass with all these rating points gone. You know, they just totally destroyed the guy who just came out of the rating freezer. Other than that, you know, you're fighting for scraps. We're all just fighting for scraps. Grandmasters are 2300. I don't feel so bad about my rating, if you think about it on balance. All right, so E4, C5. We're Nefedov. This is from team tournament. I'm guessing this is a team tournament, Neffy. Stafford. Simon Cup. I guess not. It's not a team tournament then. This is an open. Knight C6. Well, I've certainly played this position enough against Nefedov. So he's playing D4, C takes D4, Knight takes D4, and now E5. Not a really popular line these days. The Kalashnikov. We don't see it a lot. I think it's very subtle. It can transpose to Svechnikovs. One upside is that white only has like one good move here. So you know what white's going to play. Knight b5. And now if black plays knight f6, I guess we transpose to Svechnikov. Nobody's playing that. d6. I mean, why would you play this move order if you wanted to play the Svechnikov? And now Nefedov, who doesn't mind playing a Marazzi, you know, you should also consider c4. I don't know if you... I have not, Bob. Very little philosophy. Adler, a lot of Adlers. It's a very common name. Okay, so d6, knight c3. Probably a lot of authors. Adler sounds familiar. But I have not studied philosophy. I had one philosophy course at BU. I don't remember. Yo, he's the psychologist. Yeah, I've heard the name. Alright. Knight c3. a6. Knight a3. Yeah, we probably studied some Adler. But it's such a common name again. So, don't get me distracted. At least it's not simul-day. So Nefedov, seriously, c4 is a major variation. The other options are very limited. Bishop e3 is a variation. And that's about it. I mean, bishop c4, a4, very rare. Very rare moves. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the Kalashnikov. So Nefedov plays knight a1, c3. Black plays a6. Knight f6 is possible. Again, knight f6 is a transpo to a Svechnikov. a6, knight a3. Now, there are various moves, right? I haven't looked at this in a long time. I had a student who used to play the Sveshnikov, but he stopped taking lessons because of affordability issues in the United States. This is becoming quite common. So, although my lessons are very affordable, even my rates are going up. Yeah. But I haven't looked at a Kalashnikov in a long time. So b5 is the main move. b5 sidelines the knight on a3. If black plays knight f6, we're back to Sveshnikov with bishop g5. But black has other moves like bishop e7. I think Shabalov, I'm sorry, Nefedov. Shabalov played f5 here. Nah, not in this position. It was a c4 line. Okay, maybe that makes more sense than the c4 line. You get people doing that. This is suicide on the white squares. So, okay, black played knight f6, and now you're transposing to a Sveshnikov. You got to ask the question, why play the Kalashnikov if you're going to just transpose to the Sveshnikov? It doesn't make tons of sense, you know? So, this is the move. This is the best. Especially if you want to beat Nefedov, because Nefedov's knowledge of the Kalashnikov is probably less than the Sveshnikov, and most people's. Not just Nefedov, almost everyone. People would know this less well. When you play knight f6, you're playing one of the most famed variations of the Sicilian. And then these other lines are interesting. So bishop e6, knight c4, and then look at this stuff. Rook b8. This is uber subtle. That's what the former student used to play. Stuff like bishop e6. Bishop e7. This is also a thing. It's all very murky to me. You know, the variations are similar but slightly different. But after this, Nefedov's happy because he's like, now he gets back into a main line that he knows. I would certainly be happy. So b5 is mainline Sveshnikov. Black plays instead bishop e7. This is some kind of slightly inferior variation. Look at the graph, dude. If you go up, the ratings get higher. Look at that. Can you guys see those bubbles that pop up? If I hover over b5, average rating 2392. If I hover over bishop e6, average rating 2369. If I hover over bishop e7, average rating drops to 2317. And if I hover over rook b8, it's around the same, 2320. But there's not many games there. So the better the move, the higher the ratings. Bishop e7 is like a slightly inferior move. b5 is mainline Sveshnikov. b5 knight d5. Bishop e6. This is a transpo, right, to a Larsen. This is a Larsen bird variation. This is a sideline, Sveshnikov sideline. Bishop e6. But going back, like, black shouldn't play knight f6. He should play b5, or like I said, bishop e6. If you're going to play the Sveshnikov, then you have to play b5 and transpose to a normal Sveshnikov. Or play a Larsen thing, which isn't so good. The idea with bishop e6, I think that black oftentimes brings the rook to c8 quickly. Nefedov probably knows this too. You know, a lot of people know this. If you studied like an old Sicilian book, like Beating the Sicilian by Nunn or something, that's covered in there. Larsen played this in the 70s with black. Maybe even the 80s. But bishop g5, you would see it very rarely today. So now bishop e7. And so now Nefedov does something slightly surprising. He trades unprovoked on f6. But actually, what else? Well, you can play knight c4. So have I ever had this position here on Lichess? Yeah. Arsenal fan. I did something slightly surprising. I did the exact same thing that Nefedov did twice. The KISS system, right? Keep it simple, stupid. But looking at the database now, I mean, these were Blitz and classical games. Blitz and Rapid. This is better. Knight c4 is better because you build up the position without necessarily giving up that. Knight c4 is more constructive than bishop takes f6, ultimately. But of course you have to watch out for tactics like knight takes c4. Is that ever going to work? I mean, it could work in like a perfect world where everyone cooperates and you get like a fork with d5. But there's got to be a serious tactical problem here after knight takes c4. Knight takes c4, bishop takes e7, knight takes c3, knight takes d6 check. I mean, among other things. Is this playable? Wow. But there's a refutation. I had to cheat to find it. Knight takes e4, bishop takes g5, knight cd6 check, king f8, and now queen h5, double threat. But if you're not used to playing the position, I mean, you know, I'm not going to criticize Nefedov for playing a move I played twice. But it does look like this is better. But who plays this position on a regular basis? You know, nobody. It's hard to remember. Looks like knight c4 is very, very strong. Typical plan. Now you're threatening bishop takes f6. And this is probably what happened in my game with Arsenal fan. No, I played bishop takes f6. Okay, so this is inaccurate. And now you went knight d5. And that's bad. This is clearly better. It almost feels like Nefedov's trying to transpose back into he's trying to transpose back into a Sicilian Sveshnikov. If you play this knight c4, you fix your knight and you put pressure on d6. What's black going to do? Bishop e7, knight d4. Maybe knight d4 is the lesser of the evils. But then you can kick him out later with c3. So, black played bishop g5. In most games here, I guess this is still an issue in some variations. Black castled. And now Nefedov gets the knight to c4 finally. Gerhard Roeder, I don't know who that is. I know Matthias. So, b5 now. b5. I don't want to give white my light squared bishop with knight b6. This is a threat. I want the light square bishop, not the dark square bishop. So what if black plays rook b8 or moves the bishop instead? You're going to lose the d6 pawn. So black is concerned about losing the d6 pawn. Let's say bishop e6. Knight f6 check. Yeah. White has like no development at all. So bishop e6 is the best move. This is even possible. Check this out. Pragnanandha. What a weird name. Who's that? Knight on c to b6. Knight on c to b6. Rook b8. Take the light square bishop. I'm sorry, but white has to be better here. Maybe it's not a big advantage. There's no fucking way that white is worse in this position. Yet has only a half point out of 2. Plus 0.9. Prognaninha couldn't win against the 2200. And another dude even lost with white. White is better here. So, Nefedov lets black off the hook to a degree, but then black plays b5. This is a serious mistake. Serious mistake. Nefi is better. Can Nefi play better than Prognaninha? That's the question. Rook a7. Nah. And now takes, rook takes, c3. What's the biggest question for white here? Are we better? We answered that question. We're better. Development is lagging. We have a question as to where to put our light square bishop. And you want to smack him with a4 at some point, because that's going to carve him up like a Christmas turkey. So, very good Sveshnikov. Opposite color bishops, where your light square bishop is better than his dark square bishop. You're 2 moves away from castling. There's this thing with knight d4. And there's also the simplification type of thing. They're going to try to do knight e7 against you. That's very annoying. I've had some games with Jeroen and Blobix. Rip Blobix. Generally speaking, like, there's no great answer to knight e7. Like, we have to trade the knights. I would say c3 is slow, but it's actually useful because it stops b4 and it sets up a4. This is actually a good move by Nefedov. And that's exactly what Prognaninha played. Exact same move. And Prognaninha's random opponent, who was 2200, played knight a5 now, which looks kind of stupid, but it is a bit against a4, because black can stick the knight on c4 and block the pressure there. Prog didn't play a4 here. He was young in 2017. I saw him in like 17 or 16. I think 17. Around the same time when this game was played. Maybe a month later. 2 months later. He was 2400. But, yeah. It's weird, because like this looks like a normal move. Knight e7, knight takes check, pawn takes. Wait, it's better, but it's not so easy. Okay, whatever. So Nefedov plays against an opponent who plays a new move here. Very standard looking bishop g5. You can play h4, you know, very standard idea. So Nefi, you did h4. Yeah, he knows that. He knows h4. Also, this is standard. It will slow black down. Black's counterplay on the king side. It's just a pity that we give up this a4, you know. It's tempting to play for a4 immediately. I wonder if black could even do something crazy like b4. I guess if you play a4, they could go rook b8, just try to hold the line. But like, for example, take rook a6. It looks like white is better. How strong is a4? Is b4 a thing? No, I think this is a thing, you know. That would involve sacrificing a pawn, though. Bishop takes a6. That can't be right. No. No. a4 looks pretty good, man. How does black react to that? He could take, right? They could take, and you have to take back with the rook, or you play bishop takes a6. This wins a pawn. Actually, yeah, it all looks good. So a4. So the computer, it's interesting. It's on a complete coin flip with h4 and a4. So let's see what happens. He does h4. I'm expecting bishop h6, which is the standard answer. You play bishop h6. If g4, you play bishop f4. Everybody knows that. Can't take because of queen h5. Everybody knows that too. So this guy unbelievably doesn't play bishop h6. I mean, wow, we transposed to a game from 2005. And a4. And white didn't win, knight e7. That's a pawn, bro. The only thing is that h4 slightly weakened your king's side. So there's a cause for a4 directly. Okay, whatever. h4 and then that. That's weird. So he totally takes away his ability to play knight e7. Oh my god. So now Nefedov's gonna rip him a new one. Oh no, you did bishop d3. So we really need to play a4. I also like g3. Securing h4 permanently and creating possibilities of bishop h3. But, you know, objectively, this is the better move because you have a concrete plan. You know, you got a target here on b5. So I think this is... You need a really good reason to not play a4. Bishop d3 is definitely suboptimal. And then he does rook b8, and you did a3. So now he's like hanging on, and you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You're just hanging around. Oh, very disappointing. Nefedov would have played better if it was me. He was playing well until that. Very hesitant. Black does what? Rook c8. Dude, you just put your rook on b8. What are you doing? He's just moving his rook back and forth. We have 6 viewers. Okay. That doesn't seem right. Are we up? We are up. Where is everybody? Title Thursday? Why do I have no viewers? Maybe Lyndon Johnson scared them off. Alright, guys. I'm just not exciting enough. Let's do some speed runs. So, Rook c8. We should have at least enough viewers that we have games in the study. You know what? I don't like people coming and then they analyze their game and then they leave. This is a community, goddammit. You have to stay and analyze the other guys' games. You know, you have to stay for other people's games too. You can't just be here for your game. This is a community, goddammit. Rook c8, horrifying move. And now Nefedov with queen g4. I have to question whether Nefedov has any plan at all, you know. h4 I understand. But of all the places to put your bishop, I would think like this would be better. You know, at least do g3. But he probably... I mean, how are you going to castle? You're gonna castle queenside? Don't tell me you're going to do something crazy like castle queenside. Bishop d3, rook b8. a3, unnecessary. He can't even play b4 because if bishop takes a6. So why play a3? This seems like a stupid move. I don't understand the point of a3. You lose flexibility. I would rather play b4, to be honest with you. And then if a5, okay, maybe then we play. It's interesting. You could even go like a4. Imagine you trick him into playing a5. b4, a5, a4. And then pawn takes pawn. And you're better. But a3 I don't really see. You know, this is just a passive move. Rook c8, duh. Queen G4. This feels like you're playing for cheapos or something. Maybe he'll move his knight. You're hoping for knight A5 so you can play queen takes C8. King H8, avoiding that and everything else. And now rook H3. Kayvudov. Now it's all clear. So Nefedov is playing this like a kingside attack. It's okay. Original. It's original. This way he doesn't have to castle. He can just like go king F1, king G1. I gotta give him credit for originality. Rook H3 is an interesting idea. Now black's play with rooks is just horrible. This guy does not do rooks. Rook G8. What? Queen F5. Rook F8. He likes doing that rooks back and forth thing. And now H5. It's almost like Neffy was like preserving the option to castle queenside or something. It does seem like a funny moment to play king F1. But so much for castling kingside. H5. Giving up the dark squares. You're asking for him to blockade you now. I mean, you have G3 and F4, obviously. H6. Wonder how bad bishop G5 is. If G3... I mean, the point is the bishop can just live on H6. So, you guys can interact, you know. You're allowed to ask questions, comment on the games. We need a little more interaction here. Asterbate, I'm going to need some interaction. I hate F4. I don't know, this is not a great game. It feels like Nefedov should be playing G3 and F4 and being able to recapture with the pawn. So I don't want to lose E5. You know, why do you want to lose control of E5? You can play F4, but why not prepare it with G3? Then his rook is stupid, okay? We'll forget the whole rook thing anyway. What about other plans? Here, here? You know, you're clearly better, but my question is, what the hell is your plan? You know, I don't think this is a good plan. It's more cheapo business, like takes in E5. This seriously? He's a caveman. I mean, it's ridiculous. Nefedov is a total caveman. Look at that caveman approach. Unbelievable. Nefedov, did you see that? Asterbate, did you see that? Caveman? How am I down to 5 viewers? I don't think that Twitch keeps track of viewers properly. It says 10 on Streamlabs and 5 on Twitch. That doesn't make sense. So you saw that. So then F4 isn't a mistake. Because it's important. If you don't see E5, then this is a very bad positional mistake. I could take E5. Black has G6. That doesn't look healthy. That's very important. So F4 isn't a positional mistake. Now he blunders, bishop H4 check. And, okay, so I take it back. I like F4. Black has played so badly with the rooks over the last 5 or 6 moves, though. And, he's 1800. That's ECF, though, right? ECF, not FIDE. These are ECF ratings. I got to be honest with you, Nefedov. If this guy is 1819, you should be higher than 1863. Your rating is too low. You're perpetually underrated. You're too good to be 1863. This is bullshit. It's the same thing as on Lichess. King E2. You might as well castle queenside, but it allows knight D4. Okay. If you castle queenside, you allow knight D4, and your queen is bumped off of F5. So you go here. So technically, are you threatening like G4, G5? Rook b8. Because this guy, all he knows how to do is like move his rooks back and forth from f8 to g8. I mean, f8 to g8 and b8 to c8. And rook to g8 and rook to c8. And rook to b8 and rook to g8. Dude could offer a trade of queens. He's threatening queen c8, technically. Unbelievable. Nefedov allows a trade of queens. His attack's going to be pretty limited. I think he's still got an attack. But watch this. So if you go g4, black has queen c8. Right? You would be forced to trade queens. No, you might be better. But the dark squares are a little bit... I'm unsure about this dark square situation here. Is it all upside? But I thought after this, he's going to do it anyway. Because clearly he played rook b8 so that his queen could trade queens. You're still better. But the nice thing about rook g1 is that now you didn't commit to g4. Your pawns are much more fluid. You can trade queens and be better, you know, in an endgame. Not a lot better, but you are better. But I think that black needs to trade queens. He's a fool not to. Rook b7. And now you did g4. It's like, does this dude not realize he can trade queens? He's not seeing anything. He just moves his rooks around. This move is like, okay. He's provisionally rated 1800. That move is, your chess license is banned. Suspended. That's the worst move ever. Seriously, the worst move ever. f6. He's lucky you can't do anything to him immediately here. Now this is very interesting. Exactly. And now he plays queen c8, pinning your g-pawn. I'm not even sure if it works, bro. Wow. You know, it's funny, after queen c8 you could possibly play g5. That would be funny if Nefedov played this hanging his rook, because he's like winning after that. But maybe he's not. You know, check this out. g5 takes, and bishop d8. No, there's pawn takes g7 check. We're triple attacking. So, but seriously, I can't believe the guy didn't try to trade queens at some point. You don't need to play rook h2, but if you play g5, he has this. You're going to need to sack a rook on g5. And your other rook's hanging. Okay, so rook h2, awkward. And then bishop d8. And now g5, fg5, fg5. Bishop takes g5, rook takes g5, h takes g5, and h6. Now the question is, are you actually winning? He has a check on g4, and he did it, and he lost. One check. What other options does black have? Oh shit. So he has king g8. Oh no. How's your bishop? If Nefedov's bishop was on b1, it would be completely winning. Interesting, isn't it? If that bishop were on b1 instead of... it'd probably be winning. But his bishop on d3 can't go to the diagonal, like the b1 g8 diagonal. Its immobility is such a factor, right? Because all you need is this. All you need is love, get to the diagonal. But you get captured. Bloop. Wow. So if he plays king g8, what do? You're still winning. You can do bishop e1. Wow. I thought he could block you. Maybe he can block you with knight a5. Bishop a2. Knight c4. White's only move is king e1. Wait, let me get this straight. White's only winning move is king e1 here. Does anybody else really grasp this? So I don't know, man. It has to be something where it's absolutely essential that we avoid that queen g4 check. But I can't believe this quiet move makes all the difference. Black doesn't have a defense here. But anyways, okay, he played queen g4 check. You step aside, and now he can't defend. King g8 only move. Oh, this is really nice, though. So kudos to Nefedov. Knight f6 check. He needed the queen. He needed the queen to guard the back rank. And the queen left and went to g4. So that's the problem. There's no back rank. And, you know, other variations, he could put the king on h8, and so White wouldn't have this winning move. There. Sloppy game, Nefedov, but you also made some interesting moves. You know, I think there was a creative element to your play that I do like. But what I'm surprised by a little bit was your failure to try to exploit a4. It's almost like you were laser focused on playing on the king side. Although, you know, in a lot of cases, that's black side in the Sveshnikov type positions. Okay, once you played h4, you're somewhat committed over there. But I was surprised you didn't play a4. Okay, next game, Sun Prism. The Kwartler. Lonnie Kwartler. Lonnie Kwartler might still be kicking out there somewhere. He was an old FIDE master from New York. All right. Where is everybody? Where are my friends? Is it too early? We need to wait for the Americans to get here. Americans, don't take over Greenland. Occupy Greenland. Democrats, occupy Greenland. It was an interesting game. I'm in a very analytical mood. Sloppy game. Black played horribly, right? Moving his rooks back and forth. How are you 50 points? You're telling me that your 50 points rating gap between you and that guy. Seriously. I mean, maybe if like it's his first. I don't accept you being. I don't accept your rating being 1863, Nefedov. You have to be over 2000. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. I will not let you be a subscriber to the stream with a rating below 2000. You're too good for that, and I will accept no excuses. Unless you have some kind of interest in collecting prizes for under 2000, you're just light years better than that guy. You know. But it's one of Nefedov's problems, I think, to be honest, from what we've seen, is that he doesn't get to play stronger players too much. He's in that rating area where I think he plays more lower rated players in the tournaments he plays in, the leagues he plays in. We never see Nefedov play like a 2200. You got to play the level of your opponents to some degree. So Stephen Cartley, this is prime Rism. So d4, knight f6, and then knight c3. Now I'd like to troll these people these days. The Yubava London peoples, I love to troll them by playing a6. This is my like go-to. Then you transpose to the Kraken with a6 and d6. But not objectively, of course, it's not good. So d5 is the best move. Sun Prism should play d5. Knight c3 and d4. The Verisov is inferior. It's slightly inferior. This move is best. It is best. You need to play d5. I don't care if you play the French and you feel more comfortable playing the French. But alright. Maybe there is some justification. Like you think the opponent doesn't know how to play e4 or something. So this e6 can kind of like get him to play something he doesn't normally play. So check out the top games. Morozevich. The top game is Yabava Morozevich, which is not surprising, right? Yabava playing the Yabava, and Morozevich trying for a French. What do you think you're gonna get, right? Well, there's some interesting original type things that can happen now. E4 bishop b4. So it's like a pseudo winnower, like an accelerated winnower, almost. E4 bishop b4. Or something weird like bishop b4, bishop g5, bishop b4. The London Jabava guys are going to play bishop f4 now. Anyway. But this guy goes e4. So if he's one of those Jabava players, then, you know, it would be logical to play bishop f4. The thing is, you have this, so you can play it like a Nimzo, you know. So Hans versus Yumabayev. Jabava Vakidov. Wait, does this move queen d3? Interesting. I'm not a big believer in bishop f4, though. I don't think it's a good move. So e4. The question is, does white know what he's doing in the French? And if he's a Verisov player, why is he, you know, going to the French? e4, d5. And now 99% of your opponents under 2,000 are playing pawn takes pawn. The good news is, at least this, with the knight on c3, is a bit more interesting than the standard exchange variation. You could even play knight takes. Okay, so bishop g5, and that's good to see. Now the best move for black is... Let's check the ratings. h6, that's a weird gambit, right? Average rating, 2405. Okay, so that's like people trying to be tricky. You guys may not remember this, but h6 is some kind of funky gambit that black plays from time to time. It's h6, bishop takes f6, queen f6, pawn takes pawn, c5, I believe. Bishop e7, passive, standard, average rating 2371. The McCutcheon, I don't recommend you play it unless you spend hours analyzing with Jesse Cry, 2378. And then the best move, d takes e4. This is what you should play. Sun Prism. This is the dynamic way to play. It's not just a random idea. It's justified. So bishop e7, e5, normal. I guess if white does something weird like f3, there's tactics. There's also c5. So white doesn't have a lot of options. Either pawn takes pawn, e5. E5 is the main move, or bishop takes f6. This is so bad. Where did I see someone play this? I feel like Feingold did that or something against Jesse once. That's gross. That's gross. This reminds me of a Trompowski. Guys, I'm going to pause for a minute. Nature calls. So we'll be right back. BRB. Just sleeping. Elaine Quartermain. So, what do we do now? He didn't play the exchange variation. That's the good news. The bad news is he just simplified with bishop takes f6. This is a terrible move for white. And my fear would be, a further exchange on d5 on the next move. After bishop takes f6. Unbelievably, no one played that. Shocking. Of course, it's not a good move, but I'm really surprised that no one has done it. I mean, what is white's justification for giving up the dark square bishop here? Can anybody explain that to me? Can anyone justify this to me? What is white's justification for doing this? How can you play bishop takes f6? How can people do that? I mean, it's such a bad move. Bishop takes f6. Dynamic pawn structure favors black here. The dark squares are gone. I think color complex very important that you train yourselves to recognize that whole color complex now black is favored on because of the dark square bishop being on the board. So knight f3, okay. I guess knight f3 is the best move. e5 doesn't help. We're going to fight back with c5 later and blow up the dark squares completely. But I'm surprised that no one played pawn takes pawn. It would liberate our other bishop, but at least it would create a kind of static pawn structure where white can play for a draw. Maybe defending this pawn is complicated. Actually, this looks like a Verisov. It really looks like a Verisov. Queen f3 type stuff. Queen f3 right away. Black has bishop takes d4. I was just wondering about it, you know, like castles. Bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, and white doesn't have any compensation for the pawn. But bishop takes f6. I cannot overstate how stupid this is for white. Cannot overstate it. Bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, knight f3. Now, okay, it's not that easy to say like what black's supposed to do with these pieces on the queen side. Portish had a game against Spassky where he played, of all things, the Nimzovich defense. And he lost really horribly. It was similar to this. Imagine playing knight c6 in this position. That's what happened in Spassky Portish. But that's probably like black's worst move in this position, objectively. Because if you play knight c6, white plays bishop b5. So black can castle. Black could roll the dice here with a very sharp move, c5. But when you get a free dark square bishop, what you need to do, and what I was thinking was like, here you need to start thinking, how am I going to put this to use? How am I going to make this bishop great again? c5 is a magic move because it opens up the dark squares. Of course, we can't just play it any time. So knight f3. You know, this move is hard to judge because your d5 is unsupported. So maybe c5 is too exaggerated. Knight c6 is bad. Castling is okay. But I think the bigger question is the long-term picture. What if we did something like this? Just kind of hanging out, you know, waiting. It's not bad. If white tries to castle queenside, Gunina has a game. She's a strong player. Still, c6 is passive. So I'm curious, what Sung Prism did here is not a move that has a good score. He gives up the center. And it feels a lot like an inferior burn variation. It's like you're playing a burn variation where you took with the bishop on f6 instead of with the pawn. So this transposes to another variation, but it's a better variation for white. So this is all very instructive stuff. Bishop takes f6 is bad, and now Sung Prism makes a mistake by taking on e4. But the question is, what should black do? So it looks like c5, as radical as it is a good option. Castles is a decent option. The white might have some attacking chances on the king side. I don't blame you if you don't want to commit to that. Knight c6 is bad, played by the dubious Jabava. Another weird move, a6. I just want to point this out. Christian Bauer, Masturbate. Christian with a very big love of these offbeat systems. This a6 is interesting because he can combine what I call the Fracken, and it takes away knight and bishop b5, so you can play knight c6. It's useful in a lot of cases to control b5. You don't commit to castling kingside necessarily. I like this move, you know. You can still play c5. a6 is very interesting. You know, it's also used in the Burn variation a lot to control the b5 square. So this is a serious mistake. White has to take back. And now what are you going to do? Like bishop e7? Swat? Salgado Lopez. Bishop e7, a very principled approach. Okay. I agree. Your other option, which isn't bad here, would be to play it like a Fort Knox or what do you call it? Those are possible too. This is the most ambitious, bishop e7. And now bishop d3. Problem is you've upgraded white to a legit system. He had nothing, and after pawn takes pawn, he's suddenly slightly better. The position has become more dynamic, but also for white. So now knight d7, we're following Sanal Vahap, who's a maniac, another Turkish player. Really crazy on sound guy against Swat. Swat didn't play this. What did Swat do? He like castled? Yeah. I agree with not committing to castling. So knight d7 is better. And now white plays the super lame c3. c3. White should castle queenside if he wants to be aggressive. And so c3 just weakens the queenside. It shores up d4, but weakens the queenside in general. White can castle kingside. That's the safest thing to do. But I guess he has to play this. You know, I would imagine queen d2 would be possible as well. Kostyanyuk. Vratnikov. Jonathan Richmond. I'm a little... What is this song again? Alright, so... c3. This is lame. And now castles. Because we're not afraid of white after c3. He can still try to play attacking chess after c3. Just slightly weakens his queenside. But I mean, I guess the question is, what's wrong with c5? Probably nothing, you know. And c5 is okay. You could play c5. What else can you play? I mean, I thought the point of knight d7 not to control just d5, but also play for c5. And you want to liberate your bishop going to destroy center. I think c5's fine. Instead, you went here, which is a novelty, and you're opening up bishop b7. It looks like a Tory attack, and they'll go bishop a6 on you a lot, like queen e2, bishop b7, bishop a6. To trade the light square bishops. The two knights is better than bishop and knight, probably. But Zoltan Amashi has a game from 92. He was very young. He castled queenside and beat a 2200. And white doesn't benefit from c3 that much. So you go bishop e7. So what about bishop a6? You know? And that's what I would play. It's probably strong enough that you need to even consider playing a6, but it's probably too slow. It's really slow. Castles, bishop b7, rook h, e1. What are you gonna do? Like queen c8, and you're getting slammed down the middle. A6 is too slow. So after B6, Queen E2, Bishop B7. If I go here, you have to play Queen C8. Queen C8, Bishop B7, Queen B7. This looks like my game with Terzo a little bit. But it's fine. You're fine. So after Bishop B7, he doesn't go. He goes Amashi, Castle Queen side. And now you played a new move, Knight F6. But, so if you castle kingside, you get attacked by H4. If you fart around here, well, how do you fart around? You have no moves to fart around. The guy who lost to Amashi, who I imagine was very strong already in 1992, I was rated like 100 points lower. We're close in age. I think I'm a couple years older than Zoli. C6 is logical. And then he did an Asterbate attack with Bishop B1. So what did you do? Knight F6. The problem is the E5 square. What are we going to do about E5? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe Knight F6 isn't bad. Okay, Knight E5. What are you going to do? You're going to have to castle. Are you going to try to castle? Well, Knight E5 prevents you from any castling queenside. You're going to trade. 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 You're going to play for a draw with Queen D5. I mean, this is a disaster. You're playing a low-rated player, and now you're like playing for a draw. So, is anybody out there? So, I think. I mean, if we castle, we go for this castles. The score is not good. Bela, Tibor Tolnai, and Levon. Yeah. Alright, so Knight F6. Knight takes F6 check. That's not dangerous, thankfully. We're lucky he played that. And now, I mean, White doesn't really have much attack anymore. So, I think he makes a mistake here. This is the move. And you have to grovel for a draw. Because if you don't, it's very scary. You know? Where are my viewers? God damn it. Alright, that's it. So, this is a disaster. You're going to draw 1700. Knight F6 check, bishop takes F6, bishop B1, king B1. Amashi prefers bishop B1, but it's a little late for that. King B1, queen E7 now. Oh, you're going to castle queenside. It doesn't matter. I think that you're fooling yourself if you think that you're going to play for a win here now. Although Queen D5 is an option. White has C4. You know, maybe that's worth considering that. You should just cut your losses in castle kingside. Probably. Here now, White's running G4, G5. And I think the queen, you know, clearly isn't great because you can't get to like D5 to challenge his queen. You can't just sit around. Yeah, he goes for it. He goes for it with G4. He's trying to kill you now. Up. We got to go G6, and that's awkward because of H5. Is it possible we're worse now? Maybe white will overextend themselves trying to attack. I'm not sure if he should play g5. Objectively, maybe not, you know. He fixes his own pawn on dark squares. This might be a mistake, but I think it gives him clearance. But we all know that your king will wander over to f8 later, and you're never going to get mated with your dark square bishop on the board. There is a problem, however. This. And so now he has h6 type ideas. I think that white needs to leverage that in combination with other threats. You're going to have to break out with like f6 later. What a disaster. So best is pawn takes pawn. He's not really threatening anything, like devastating. You know that? Knight takes. What about this? Oh, queen takes g5 hangs. Oh no. So he has to take back with the pawn or the rook. Rook takes is funny. It's probably unsound. Alright, pawn takes. So you should have exchanged on d4. This is the panic move. Maybe it's not that bad. There's a problem with like queen h4. Still not that easy to attack you. He has queen h7 check and knight h4. You're very, very lucky if you didn't lose this game. But white also didn't play that great. Okay, queen b7. H takes g. Queen e4 check, bailing out. Oh my god. Yeah, well, if you take on g6, you're getting check and knight h4. What a disaster. Check, king h8. And now white has knight here, threats. Knight h4, king h7, and you hang on. Oh my god. Here, 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 here. Two connected past pawns on the 5th and 7th. Oh my god. Maybe this e-pawn saves you. As a decoy. Right. Dude, this is such a nightmare. Oh my god. Are you lost here? You can cut his king off. Wow, this is crazy. King g7, rook h1. This is such a miracle if black isn't lost. You cut his king off. So if he goes for your e-pawn, like rook g4, he plays like the dumbest move ever now. Rook g2. Maybe it's not. But I don't see the point. So you decided to simplify. And now you can play rook h8. His e-pawn's pretty far advanced. He probably wants to take out your a-pawn. King f7, rook e7, rook f6 check. King f7, rook h6 maybe. What happens if you lose your a7 pawn? Let's see, king f7. I don't know if he should check and take the tempo or go for rook h6. No whammies, no whammies. Stop. Rook d5 question mark. Wow. So this move is best. That's a tough move in time pressure. To be honest, white played a good game. He was unlucky not to win. So all the endgames I played with Sun Prism has made him tougher in the endgame. He managed to hold on here. Jesus. A4, A5 looks scary. But you have some weird move like C4. What's the point? If A4. A4 is not winning, but C4 is. That's crazy. What's the problem with A4? That's incredible that this isn't enough. So he has to play C4. And white is winning after that. C4, king E6, rook A7, rook E4, rook B7, rook D6, king C3. You can't get your king over. Rook C6, rook. What do we do? Rook H7, threatening to trade rooks. Oh my god. So you're actually lost, but not that easy to see. Plays that, lets you out. And now it's a 3-on-2 draw. What an adventure. Oh my god. What an adventure. That was horrible. White's play in the opening was so lame, you know. But I think you gotta wonder how this happened. How could we get a lost position after that opening with bishop takes f6? The worst move ever. The lamest move ever. This is really interesting. I was talking about this with Mr. Coffee and some kind of Queen's Gambits. E takes D5. Fuck. You know that gambit we were talking about a minute ago? Like, this is kind of the same thing. Holy shit, novelty master. Castles, black is better. Maybe not. But it's close. Let's check the Lichess database. Wow, a lot of games. Castles has a very good score. Look at that. That's not a statistical anomaly. Average rating 2102. Castles is best. So bishop e5 check is actually better for white. Elda 64. Check. Bishop d7 or knight c6. Knight c6. E takes d5. Now the exchange. Now we have to take back. And that's a better move order. So how about bishop d7? Bishop d7, knight d7. Very complicated stuff. Black should be fine, but I don't know. If you're trying to win, what's objectively the best here for black? It's a really tough call. Hey, g6. g6 has been played. Drop back to g7. Interesting approach. All right, next game. Anatoly Karpov, Garry Kasparov. This is an epic, one of those epic games from the 19, what is it, 80, 86, 88? What year was it? 86. 86. Karpov, Kasparov. All right, we're going to update the stream title more often than not. We're going to try something new here. So, I was really interested in that last game to understand what Sun Prism did wrong. All right. Karpov Kasparov 86 match. I was rated around 1700 when this game was played. 1600. But we followed this stuff pretty. But it's been a long time. I haven't. I think this is the epic game, one of the epic games. Anyway, there's some amazing games. This Bishop F4. So D4, Knight of 6, C4, and Kasparov was playing. Gasparov was playing the Grunfeld, as well as King's Indian, but mostly Grunfeld. And the Bishop F4, it's a very solid line for white. But it's only one variation. Karpov played multiple things, which made him very difficult for Kasparov. He also played Seville. This is the year that they played the match, was in Seville, right? So the so-called Seville variation was created in this match. The classical line with exchange, Grunfeld. Okay, so Bishop G7. Now remember that Garry Kasparov was trained by Botvinnik, and Botvinnik loved the Grunfeld. I have Botvinnik's Grunfeld book somewhere. E3, and that's not the only move. So I don't recall, but I think that Knight F3 was the tradition, has always been like the traditional move. And this was probably, well known at that time as well. But Rook C1, I'm thinking it's like more of a modern thing. So basically White's strategy is to like clear everything off the long diagonal. We evacuate everything before you can attack anything. So the bishop's on G7. What are you going to do? Like there's nothing there to attack anymore. You basically cleared out the whole queen side. So this bishop it's attacking like air on the long diagonal. That's more or less the idea of this setup. I mean, there is stuff with White grabbing pawns on C7 that can be very dangerous. So Rook C1 is interesting. I'm not sure if that was known back then. Do you see any games from 1986? 94. Yusupov 94. So maybe this variation wasn't introduced until later. E3 is a very traditional move. But one advantage is that your knight doesn't get pinned, maybe by some lines. Another factor, of course, we're protecting our pawn on C4. That's kind of the major thing. Very obvious, right? I mean, you got to ask the question, if I play Rook C1, what if black takes? Stupid question, stupid answer. No, this is not a stupid question. It's a very important concept. Like, how do we get our pawn back? So the thing is, like, we haven't played E3, so we can play E4. This seems to have a very good score for white. But anyways, so the game E3, C5, and now D takes C5, and black will comfortably get that pawn back in most cases on C5. But here there's some interesting questions. Should black play Queen A5 automatically, or maybe there's a better way to play? I mean, stupid questions, right? Castle. Farintosh has a game from 1976 against Ebrieshi. C takes D5. Is it just going to transpose with Queen A5, right? Maybe we transpose. Well, anyway, I assume the queen a5 is best. But there's also this move. Nakamura 2002. Igor Novikov Nakamura, October 2002? What could that have been? Sorry, your other October. No, that's October. Okay. Bishop b6 is possible. I don't know. How bad can it be? Bishop b6 is playable. Okay, queen a5 main line. Rook c1. This is really lame. That's extremely lame. Eperyeshi. Eperyeshi. Epers are strawberries. But an Eperyeshi is a guy from Eperyesh, which is probably like a town, some sort of town or region. He's like the guy from Strawberry Fields, essentially. He was actually a pimp. A nice guy. I found him to be like a absolute gentleman. You would never guess he was a pimp. With his other job. But you did have this weird feeling like, why are all these like weird chicks hanging out in the Chess Federation, waiting for Dr. Eperyeshi? You got this like, what's going on with that? Okay, so rumors are fact. Queen a5, the mild-mannered pimp with a briefcase and a tie. He just passed away a couple years ago. So, rook c1. Now you see, now you don't. Castles looks like the most aggressive move to me. Gelfand Vachier. And d takes c4 this is not going to be the most exciting. So, I prefer castles, and it gets very sharp after c takes d. There's rook d8. This is like real chess. And my old friend ML Slancy calls it total chess. This is the serious stuff now. And that's what Botvinnik would probably go for. But I feel like this is a little bit of like a cop-out, like a safe move. This is considered main line. If you go to like Bogdan Lalich's book on the Grunfeld, which is from the early 2000s, Lalich would probably say this was the main line for black. Castles. Sorry, bishop takes c4. And now castles, and you can't defend the pawn on c5. So he's just going to snap it with the queen. But I'll be honest, like, this is not the most exciting game. Kasparov and Karpov had a really nice game. I think that Karpov won in the same line, but a sharper game. This variation sort of is symmetrical. So queen takes c5, bishop b3. What about like queen e2? So that's where this bishop g4 comes in. If black's going to play like bishop g4, then we don't waste the tempo playing queen e2, I guess. It also opens up this. But I think these positions are a little dry. Knight c6, castles. Yeah. And this is equal. White isn't better, but black is certainly not better either. I don't think that white is better. I mean, I don't really get it. Okay, his bishop is active on b3. That's nice. But that's all you've got, really. I mean, maybe white can somehow play e4. So h3. And now the question is how black should set up. There's no time for like b6. You don't want to be playing b6, maybe b5. There's a problem with this being undefended. You play this, you get knight there. So rook d8 obviously weakens f7. I guess white has a bit better control of the center, but not an exciting variation in my opinion. Bishop f5. Okay, it's like a standard move. Queen e2. Yawn. As you can see, 59% of the games after 94 are drawn. It's too late for black to play for a win. If black wanted to win, in all honesty, I think you have to go back here and do something sharper. Maybe even, like I said, roll the dice with something like bishop e6. That's what Hikaru did, obviously. But I guess the main line is this. Let's see. Queen a5, rook c1, rook d8. You even have threats of like bishop e6 in some positions. But I mean, this has been analyzed to death. Probably follow this game. See Lalich, Polgar. Lalich played this line himself with white. That's interesting. Bishop c4. His book was for black, of course. So, okay, it gets exciting. Okay, queen takes c5. I don't remember this game. Knight c6, castles, queen a5 here. All very standard. 94, simplifying. Yeah, okay, so if you trade, it's a dead draw. 64% draws. g4 looks kind of ridiculous. Weakening white's kingside. Rook fd1, I don't understand. So basically white has a choice here between knight e4, which looks drawish, and the move that he played in the game, which is knight to d5. So this is avoiding exchanges of pieces and creating a more complex situation. Now the black queen is cut off. You have to look, like where is that queen going? Plus we have some threats to sack the exchange, like rook takes c6, knight takes c7, check. Looks kind of dangerous. And e5 is not a move that black necessarily is in love with. Dragonfly Hunter, welcome. You remember this? Yeah, this is from the 96 World Championship. Before I met you. I don't remember the game either. I probably saw it at the time, but it faded from my memory. Yeah, Kasparov goes with rook takes c6 now. Okay. Well, this was an obvious threat in the position. I guess this was probably new at the time. It was brand new at that time in 1986. This position had never been played, I assume. But it's clear that he's threatening rook takes c6. What other moves can black play? I mean, are there other threats? Is bishop c7 a threat? Looks like it is, because say you play like king h8, and I play bishop c7. I think we have a problem here. Because our only... a6 is not good. Yeah. So, alright. There's a very serious threat. So this is basically forced. There are 2 games with knight c5. Kishpal against Kaposhdash. Kaposhdash... Cabbage Man is not with us any longer, but Kishpal is. We're friends on Facebook. Bishop c4. Now, I don't like knight c5. So, e5. And now, rook takes c6. And Kasparov plays pawn takes bishop. It looks like the majority of players take the knight. So this is interesting. Takes, check, king h8. White not scoring too well here. Knight takes c6. This is probably forced. And now, this was all analyzed to death probably after the match. Queen b6. First game where this was played, not showing up until the 2000s. So it makes you almost wonder, like, maybe this game was played and then everyone played pawn takes f4 until they realized that b takes c6 is actually better. If Kasparov played e takes f4 in the World Championship, then pawn takes f4 must be the right move. It looks like it's not. Probably this is actually better. Black has an incredible score here. Shirov winning games. So this is actually a mistake. And now rook c7. Now white's threatening knight e7 check. Is white threatening anything? There's some pressure on f7. But the rook on c7 is liability. Feels like black does have initiative. It's unsurprising that Kasparov went for this. It does feel like black has initiative, but going by the score, it's not enough. It was the wrong choice. So now he plays bishop e6. Karpov finds a very strong move. Trading queens, or at least attempting to trade queens. Could black play queen a6? That's a stupid idea, right? We don't have time to play queen a6. Then again, black plays queen b5 normally, so queen b5 might be better though, because we put pressure on this. You defend b7 and you also attack this. So on knight f4, you just simply eat pawns. Let them eat pawns. This is not a barn burner of position. Queen e1 was in his files. It's a safe move. We'd like to trade queens and be a pawn up in the endgame. I mean, if Kasparov trades queens, this happened in a game with George Grigori. Okay, rook takes e1, fe3, rook takes e3. White went on to win. Technical position, bishop takes, knight d6, bishop takes b7. I'm not sure if black made the right decision here. This should probably be a draw. But Grigori, Romanian Grandmaster, he managed to win this position. But Kasparov, okay, he wants to play for more. Maybe not justified. Check. King h8. And now every game was a draw. Bishop e6. Now that's an ugly structure. This is probably still in the files. We're not really using computers in 1986. I had my standalone, Mach 3 Master or whatever, which was rated like 2200. But look at these games immediately. There were other games. Lembit Panchenko, 1986. Vladimir Schmidt, Neverov, 1986. Are you serious? Poznan. When was this played? Question mark. So we don't know. And Ole, before he jumped off the building, was played in Agzamov Memorial, Tashkent, 1986. Speaking of jumping off buildings. Well, that's weird. Both Agzamov and Lembit jumped off buildings. Kind of a weird coincidence. I didn't know about Agzamov till recently. He was a very strong player. But apparently he also committed suicide or got pushed. It's unclear. Lembit, same thing. 1986. This was played when? Question mark, question mark. So we don't know when these were. Yeah, this database sucks. It's not a database. Anyway. All right. Playing this variation makes you jump off buildings. Queen B1. Knight G5. Oh, this is really weird. See, this is the kind of shit that made Bobby Fischer think that the World Championship match was arranged, probably. Imagine Fischer sitting there in like Pasadena with his first home computer, just learning how to use the mouse. And he's watching on the World Wide Web, or however, on the radio. Bobby's getting the radio broadcast, and he's like, oh, fuck them. Karpov, Kasparov, this match is totally arranged. Look at this. Knight H4. Come on. This has all been like planned out by the KGB. This totally... Imagine how paranoid Fischer was by games like this. This totally looks like it's been like prearranged or something. Seriously, it looks really made up, you know? And it just happens to be a draw. Like, the order came down from high up. That's funny. But Gary would become world champion soon. Knight takes h3 check. King h2. Queen h5. Yeah, it looks very... imagine, there's no computers at this time. It looks very contrived. So, where did we vary from the other games? Waldemir Schmidt versus Neverov? Who knows which game was first? Probably the World Championship game. Does it matter which knight you sacrifice? Yeah, apparently white's better here. So apparently white is actually better. There's improvements here. Wow. There are improvements. Knight h4. Knight takes h3 check. King h2. And knight takes f2. This has never been played. Hanging, hanging, hanging. But white just eventually gives the perpetual anyway. Rook takes f2. F takes e3, and now we just do it now. Takes, check, takes. That's clearly a draw. So there's nothing secret there. But this is actually a mistake. Very serious mistake by black. F takes e3 is okay. And this would later happen in a game in 91. Leko was a Dorian's student, so he knew the Grunfeld very, very well. Dorian was a massive Grunfeld expert. But, yeah, Queen h5 is actually pushing the envelope, and this is an inaccuracy. Takes, here, takes, here, queen takes. And now white is slightly better. And Kasparov has to find the only move, Queen e5. That's more room for Bobby Fischer to be conspiracy theory minded. Rook f7. White's best move is Queen c2. Queen c2. F takes e3 check. Why do we not have f4? f4, knight takes f4, and black is winning. Oh my god. So you have to take here. And white is better. So after this, it's like move 24. Karpov plays this mistake. And now Kasparov is fine. So they get a technical ending that's That's going to be a draw. Nobody's messing this up. Three pawns each. The bishop's a little better than the knight. The Karpov is just too good at endgames. It's a perfect position for Karpov. He's going to hold. Very good tactical player. So it was a draw. Okay, that was interesting. I hadn't seen that in a long time. We must have gone over it years ago. Snedsteg, let's see. So, yeah, we're not analyzing the match. I just had that particular game. I'm going to try to, update the stream titles more often, like a lot of other streamers do. Alright, so Snedsteg against T. Martinson. This is an over-the-board game, which foreshadowed 9/11. So, e4, e5, knight c3. This is Snedsteg playing white. My chair keeps slipping down. I think that's a conspiracy, too. Swivel chair. So, okay. Best move for black here is knight f6. Just objectively the best move for black is knight f6. Because you're attacking the center. You're putting pressure on white's position. Asterbate, did you play d5? No. Knight c6, bishop c4. It's a classic line. Knight f6, that's best. And now you have to play d3. f4 is unsound. Knight f3 is incorrect. You have to play d3. And now black plays knight f5. So this is a very famous line. Bronstein in 200 Open Games gives a game with this. I can't remember who it was against. But little anecdote. I had a friend who did like bishop b4 and gave his opponent a friend who got tripled Irish pawns here, so-called Irish pawns. I don't know where that expression comes from. I think it was Miles who came up with that, because he had a game with some Irish player, and he's the one who coined the phrase Irish pawns. I could be wrong. I've heard someone else tell a different story, but I'm pretty sure it's Miles. So this could happen, right? Knight a5 is a standard move. So you're going to you could obviously play this like a chicken, right? I can't believe people play this seriously for a win for white. I guess it's not that bad. But this is the main move, knight e2. The problem with knight f3, Sensei, is that you're blocking your f-pawn. And so the question that in my mind is, like, if you block your f-pawn, then where's your break? Like, what are you going to do? So is there some sort of system here for white where we're going knight d2, knight f1, knight e3? I wasn't aware of that. Maybe that's the plan, It's new to me. I was aware of these other moves, like queen f3 and knight e2. I was not aware that this is really normal. So knight takes c4. Black doesn't have to take the bishop, though. If you play d6, you can go check. That looks kind of lame. I mean, why would Kavalek play this with black? Why would he play d6 instead of knight takes c4? There must be a reason why d6 is considered better. I don't know. It looks like either way. Alright, so knight takes c4. Is there a downside to d6? And what's white going to do, like b3? What's the downside to d6? It may be that people just never really think about it. It's so rare to face this line. Look how good black's score is here. H3. Adnani Yurtachescu. Not a lot of strong players playing the Vienna. So d6 is very interesting. Knight takes c4, d takes c4, and now bishop b4. If bishop b4, what do? You have to play queen d3, right? Actually, I assume. Queen d3. That's very solid. But Snetstig's opponent plays d6, but the bishop is bad. So what about that bishop on f8? Yeah, you're here, Antonio, so you played the Vienna with white. You say knight on gd e2 followed by bishop c5 equalizes. Okay. So black has a bishop problem. It looks like this line, the real issue is this bishop b4. And then white has, like, basically nothing. This is going to seriously equalize. Let's see. Queen d3. And if you take with the queen, attacking e5. Black plays d6. And now my question is, seriously white better here? With so little material left on the board? Abasov Vichugov 2021. Galashvili beat to 2200. The engine thinks black's better based on the structure. Black's playing b6. Oh no. Oh no, b6. So this is a huge mistake by black to not play bishop b4. Well, it feels like it, but maybe it's not so bad. He can still do b6 and put pressure on the e4 pawn. Not as good though with that knight able to come to d5. So I don't know. Bishop g5 can't be bad, but it does seem to solve black's bad bishop problem. I was thinking earlier about this, telling you guys. White brings the knight to f1 and e3. It's like black side of the Rossalimo or something. Knight d2 is a novelty. So apparently it's just like too slow. A little surprised by bishop g4. So black has no time. White has no time for this. Because I can't now this pawn is attacked. Now I have to defend that pawn. Then I weaken my dark squares even worse. Then black goes c6. So I never have time to execute this because I get busted in the middle with d5. So there's just no way. There's no way for white to execute the fancy maneuver with knight d2. So you should just play like queen d3 or something. It looks like. Kuipers. Kuipers the second. Only tricks. Tricks only. He never streams anymore. Bishop g5. I don't like it. You're solving his bishop problem. Ugh. I mean, I'd be like, thank you very much. I'm fine. No, seriously, I think like white's best move here is probably to pull the bishop back or something. Okay, you don't have to. But you don't want to trade your dark square bishop off. Really. I mean, in this case, you bring his queen out to f6. If you take, at least that's some time. You could do this and argue that you gain time. I mean, maybe even c5 or something. I don't think that white is really worse, by the way. So you play bishop h4, but I don't like the way black's playing. Again, clearly bishop e7. Okay, g5. Maybe g5 isn't so bad, but I mean, okay, we're very weak now. A lot of weaknesses I don't like in black's position. with these light squares. What is he really getting here? If you play g5, I would think like this would be the plan. But now white does stuff like that. I don't know. If you're not going to play knight h5, I don't know what the point of g5 is. He does it, okay. And now castles queenside. And this move I'm really not sure about. Black's queen is a problem, and so what are you gonna do? Queen c8. This is stupid for black. So it does this. We'd rather play knight f4. But then we take, and we're threatening knight c5. Humor me for a second, guys. What happens here if I take with the g pawn and white plays that, and black goes like bishop g7? Is this totally bad for black? Or is it reasonable? It's actually doable. You can really like ravage white's structure with the triple pawns again. May not be that stupid. So he does bishop g7. Now I'm suggesting, what was I suggesting? Oh yeah, knight f4. Bishop f4, yeah, gf4. But white has c5 instead. This is stronger. Okay. Those bishops are not better than the knights. That's really ugly. So now you're supposed to do knight d2, knight f1, knight e3. Sensei. Now it's very strong. Welcome back, Dragonfly Hunter. Guys, we didn't get any gift subs today. And no donations. No nothing. We had 2 follows. No, 1 follow. Tet 3107. Very slow day today. So c5 break. Double edged because, you know, you don't really want to open the position against this guy's bishops. So I think this is a mistake. You do create a target on d6, but you also give black counterplay. It would have been better to play knight d2. Alright, so here, risking opening up the bishops. Takes. Now I'm thinking king b1. The bishop on g7 is horrendous, and I think it guarantees that white is better. Knight d5 is okay. Rook c8. Rook d3, also okay. Castles. You know, so you're better, and you can pressurize black on h6 and d6, but your knight on f3 is the missing link here, clearly. All the other pieces are good. This does nothing. It does nothing. So it needs to go, like I said, to activate. This rook isn't bad on the h-file. You know, I think you play this. I would also play king b1 at some point. You've got a good prophylactic move. This is a very concrete idea by white. He's a one-track mind. But black now gets in f5. Yeah, I mean, that might have been a threat for a few moves. So f5 certainly a very tempting move by black. Why not? I'd be a little concerned now that white is losing control of the position. Looks to me like white is losing control of the position altogether. But we have a tactic here, knight b4. F e4, knight takes c6, b takes c6, and rook takes d6. So, the two bishops, one is better than the other. And a5 is covered. The knight in f3 never did move. Queen e7. And where are you going to put your knight? Yeah, I mean, that's the takeaway from the game, really. Sensei needs to familiarize himself with this maneuver. If he ends up going here, I mean, this also can go to h2, f1, e3. You don't mind sacking the exchange. Absolutely. Rook takes d5. Pawn takes, queen takes, check. But f2's weak. It's probably not enough. I guess your best is take, take, take. Maybe even f3. You know, ultimately, you're up a pawn in an endgame where black has this kingside majority. It's just enough for him to save the game, probably. So, maybe white did the right thing here, not panicking and sacrificing exchange. This is clearly a safe move. Relatively safe decision. The problem is this. Okay, takes, check, king h8. If you drop f2, I mean, maybe you should consider it, yeah. Actually, this bishop is so bad that maybe this is actually a better option. Yeah, I agree. Okay. So, on queen takes check. Yeah, I said queen f7. Okay, queen takes check, queen f7, queen takes e4, we hit a2. We have queen takes f7 check, rook f7, and then let's say f3. It's not enough. Wow. You have to play rook d2, allow this, and then you're up 2 pawns on the queen side. Alright, so queen b4 instead. This looks kind of dicey. Check. Oh no, because the point is bishop takes, rook g6 check. So we have all sorts of shit now, like knight f5. Exactly. And we win the queen. That bishop never... I mean, I pointed that bishop... Black lost the game because of that bishop. He lost the game because of the bishop, literally. And it goes back all the way to here. This decision to not play bishop to b4. Because you got to be very aware of the fact that your bishop's bad. And the funny thing is, you played bishop g5 and it wasn't good. And he still doesn't play bishop e7. I don't understand. How is black not playing bishop e7 here? So strange. Alright, next game is Redusa. Guys, donate. Come on, we need your donations to go to the World Senior Team Championship. USA 2. April. No one wants to support me. Wow, this is Redusa against the Grandmaster. Alright. What is the time control? Rated rapid game. Rated rapid game. Wow. Rated rapid game, time control 10-0. Darnak. Where's Mr. Coffee today? C4, knight f6, d3. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Antonio with a donation to Anarchy Syrup. Anarchy Syrup 0. Sorry for flashing you guys, my boobs. Um, Anarchy Zero. Thank you, Morales. Morales, a VIP of all things. Gifting a tier 1 sub. Thanks, man. Much appreciated. So, we're on the board. So this is anyway, Reduso playing black against Grandmaster, 10-0 rapid, c4 knight f6, d3. I don't know who the heck white is. They don't have a high rating for rapid. But maybe that's like a new account or they don't play much rapid. So d3, it's a weird move, you know. Basically, people don't play d3 in this position with white. It doesn't have any independent value. Black plays now c6, going for a Slav. And Schmidt-Deal played something strange. Bishop g5. That's really random. Speaking of moves that aren't really great, Bishop g5. I would play e5 if I were black there. It's a c3 Sicilian in reverse, effectively. So anyway, knight f3 is better. And now we've got a few games. Black plays d5. And so now white is in a situation where he's played d3 like unnecessarily. And I think it's actually, it's not a constructive move really. Because black is effectively threatening d takes c4. So, you know, I've seen people like Jay Bonin and others do d queen c2 or something. Probably the lesser of the evils. Knight bd2 is it's really lame. I've tried to make the c takes d5 work. I had a very similar game recently. C takes d. A mistake theoretically. C takes d, g3, knight c6, bishop g2. And so black normally plays e5, probably plays e5 here. This is a c3 Sicilian in reverse as well. Boris Reichstein. Negulescu. 2000. I played Boris Reichstein in 1990. He was this like Russian FIDE master who was, I guess he was Russian, I'm not sure, he was Jewish, but an immigrant. Bishop g2. I mean, e5 is more aggressive, but g6 is okay. White now castles. You play bishop g7. So it's not really a c3 Sicilian if you don't play e5. You're staying in the Slav realm. Surprisingly, white's score is no wins in this position because, well, playing d3 on move 2 in the English isn't very promising. Knight bd2 is very passive. b3 is not an option. You know, I want to make things like e4 work sometimes, but it's just not going to fly against a solid fianchetto. So I like what white does. He plays knight c3. This is probably best. Now the question is if d4. Canadian Championship 1985. Or some kind of open in 1985. Brian Nikolov. The young David Norwood. d4. Okay, Norwood's English. Maybe it was the British Championship. I don't know. d4. They ever have a British Championship in Canada? Can they do that? Can we have it in Denmark? Yeah, the question is, does white go to e4? So Norwood always played g3 on move 1. He would play g3 with move 1, g6 with move with black. So David here played knight a4. This is very abstract and interesting against this solid but likely drunk Nikolov. You didn't play d4. I think d4 is critical. This is important to play this move. Knight e4 is okay, but Norwood's move is best. It's very interesting. But it's not surprising because Norwood was such an expert on the modern and g3 with white. He must have known his stuff. I know he knew his stuff. He's still around somewhere. I guess he became like a options trader. I don't know. He must have left the chess world. But, man. So after knight a4, knight d5, white is slightly worse. And if knight e4, you trade, obviously. But it's playable for white. White is black and black is white. So Redusa didn't do that, and now white has options. Difficult to say, but bishop f4. What's up with white's score after bishop f4 here? It's like a conspiracy or something. Sermon Hamuel Reshevsky versus Mednes, 1972. Samuel Herman Reshevsky. Wow. White is 9-0 in this position. No, 8.5 out of 9. That's crazy. In a relatively level position. Black's actually better according to the engine. Oh my god. D4. Knight a4. And white is 4-0 in this position after knight d5. That's ridiculous. Black is clearly fine. So we're just getting like freak results now. Hare Krishna lost to 2400. What's up, Sensei? Yeah. But stay with us. Stay with us. No leaving. It's ridiculous white's score here. Unbelievable. So your opponent played bishop d2. Way more passive. These are some French guys. Surprise, surprise. e5. You kind of wonder, like, why e5 now, you know? Bernard played h6, which makes sense to stop any future bishop g5. Maybe play that first and then e5. The plan is e5 followed by bishop e6. Okay, fine. e5 fully playable. And then I would think like white might seriously consider doing this anyway. This is like my game with Redusa the other day. No? We had something very, very similar, right? You guys remember this? Familiar? Something like that happened in one of my games. But I was reverse colors. But rook c1 is lame. Still not a bad move. We're back to that game where Serre played knight a4. And that seems to be a recurring theme. h6 is a strong move. Okay, a3, and now queen e7. So the idea is that if you go bishop e6, white will do knight a4, knight there. So, but you can go in the center here. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, this is going to be a very important move. Plus, you also have e4. You're starting to have e4. So white is like fucking around too much on the queen side. Interesting game, says Steg. You need to familiarize yourself with knight f1. I'd never seen that line before with knight f3, really. So a3, queen e7. This is kind of a strange placement for the queen. No, I don't like this square. This square here. White plays b4, black plays a6, and white plays knight a4. Finally, but e4. And that's a problem, right? White's been playing like he had total immunity forever from these central pushes, like d4 and e4. So now I have to play knight e1. And if something bad happens at e2, we're not surprised. Exactly. So white is clearly a hypermodernist. Darnock. There's an unfortunate threat of pawn takes pawn. The h3 is not possible. So white's options are basically almost nothing here. He has to do either pawn takes pawn or f3, which is very weakening. Backward pawn, serious issue. Bishop f5. And now b6, which doesn't seem like we have to play b6. It's an option. But we also have other options. Knight d4. I don't know why necessarily go here. I mean, if we play knight d4, I guess he has e3. Black is better. b6, knight b3, stopping knight d4, rook c8, and then rook e1. And now d4. This is very serious space advantage, threatening knight d5 and knight e3. So white is getting kind of desperate. And this is no good. Probably no good because of the center. So white is getting punished for this slow d3 opening. And then he needs to break out now. So I would say it's like 100% e4. It does work, doesn't it? White has to play e4. How does he not play e4? Blokadovich. I mean, I guess black is better after takes. White could actually take back either way with the bishop or the rook. But the white king seems unsafe. So white is still worse. Negative 1.2. But if you don't play e4, I mean, I think you're like paralyzed. What are you going to do? David Norwood. This is really passive, man. The engine is sacking the exchange. Oh. Now that's a good practical try. Yeah. That's probably the best practical try. You sack the exchange and you take on f5. Yeah, we're in. I'm in. Best practical try. So he doesn't find rook takes c6. He doesn't play e4. He plays this, which doesn't do anything. It's extremely passive. And now knight d5. Duh. So white is a grandmaster. He's playing like he's 2,100. Sinus says rook d8. Well, I don't know. You know, it's good. It's very possible both are good. I like knight d5 though. It's extremely strong. Black has a massive advantage. This is like Lilienthal Botvinnik. Game over. If Botvinnik is black here against an average grandmaster, forget about it. This is triumph of space advantage. It's very bad for white. Grandmaster played like 2100. You know, you never know. You know, maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe he's letting his student play in his account. I don't know, you know. But he played badly. It looks like a beginner's playing white now. Knight e3. Okay, but he was banking on this tactic on c6. I missed this. So he has the c6 hanging, actually. So maybe it's not that bad. Well, it's not good, but knight e3 may not work. Like you're saying, maybe we should build up first. I mean, this looks crushing. Bishop takes d5, fall out of chair. Is the best move for white. If that's white's best move, you can just resign. You know, it's very clear to me. That's white's best move according to the engine. Bishop takes d5. Or knight a1. Oh my god. Normal Grandmaster will not play either one of those moves. So, anyways, you play knight e3. He takes. You take. Your c6 is hanging. Is there a tactic here? You have a double attack? Rook d8 first. I mean, there's a lot of loose pieces and the white king is open, but where's the winning move? Rook c8 here. Pinning him, okay. Oh, so he has no other squares. The white queen has no other squares. Oh my god. This is his only square. Shit. And he's trying to trade queens with queen e3. You're never going to trade queens. So here you missed rook c8 and this is winning. Radusa has a tendency to play too fast. He has a time edge. It looks like you're threatening rook c8 now. And white misses a move. He has e4 with counterplay. Disruptive. And buying time. Now black will have to deal with bishop d5. So e4 saves the game. By getting control of d5. Well, at least he has a good shot of saving the game. After this, I guess white is still worse. But real chances to draw. So knight a1. That's a sad move. Oof. Okay. Good game. And then finally we've got Morales against Radusa. Double Radusa. Yeah, Morales. Thanks for being a VIP. We got one gift sub today from Morales. No donations, but one gift sub. Analysis is for serious players. I deal with serious players here. You guys aren't beginners. E4, c5, knight c3. Yeah, I'm done playing knight c6. I just don't want to play that anymore. I'm so sick of it. You know, your bishop e5 crap. I'm gonna play either g6 or d6 from now on. You know, g6 or d6. That's it. Nothing else for me. So knight c6. And you didn't do your favorite bishop b5. Instead, we have knight f3. And black plays g6. So now it's like a pseudo Rosslimo. But Rouse, why would you not play your normal move? Okay, you're mixing it up. So now black doesn't have to fear the bishop takes c6 as much. You can go ahead and play bishop g7. This is not as dangerous, maybe as in some other positions with the knight on c3. Okay, it's still a variation. I guess the knight on g1 might be more flexible. I don't know if Morales would take on c6, by the way. if you played bishop g7. This is actually like an English in reverse. Castles. Very old English line. You could even play rook e1, I suppose. So anyways, g6, bishop b5, knight d4, and now bishop c4. So now, you know, you're playing something that's like a transposition to those other lines, back to your other line. Bishop g7, knight d4, cd4, queen f3. It's my game with Buden. What's his name? Budenoy. Yeah, so this is all well known, right? And black's supposed to play knight h6. So I had the weird game with Budenoy back in 2007, where it was like, or maybe it was 2008, where it was knight h6, d3. I was white, and he played like queen a5. Yeah, there it is. It was 2007. I managed to lose with white. So I've been playing, you know, I even played this with white in 2007. All right. But anyways, what do I know, you know? I'm just, all right, so knight h6. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get the knight off of h6. So he plays e6 here. People have played f5. Holy crap. You know that move never occurred to me? Dubov. It never entered my mind. It's too crazy, you know? It just never entered my mind to even consider this move. It's too crazy. Pawn takes, d takes c3, f takes g6, and knight f6. Bishop f7 check. Asterbait would love this. King f8. Rip 2396, 95. Not enough compensation. Yeah, f5's a move. So it looks like f5's a move. You're supposed to play knight e2. There's even a relatively recent game from 2023. And then they go queen a5. So it's like a delayed queen a5. This was played by Elizabeth Pates back in 2001. It's playable. It's playable. c3 is best. So Wei Yi Dubov, they played the best possible line. D takes C, D takes C. And now Dubov with great ideas, you know. Knight f6, E takes f5, Queen takes f5. He went on to lose this. He went on to lose this endgame. Black's position isn't that bad. Alright. But you gotta give him credit. Anyways, e6. And this is known to be bad. So now you've got the queen swinging over to a3. The d6 square. So check it out. Check out the engine, Wendy. It's a bad line. I mean, I don't know why too many grandmasters would find themselves in this position with black. But you don't have many. Nevednici got away with it. Simacek got away with it. Stephen Solomon lost. Wang Zili in 2003 lost to Nihua. But most surprisingly of all, Pia Kremling played this with black against Hu Yifan in 2014. That's embarrassing. I mean, she should know better. Should have known better than to play this with black. But at least you've got to play d5. So Richard Pert playing this last, almost, well, 2000, okay, 2 years ago. So this is the only move for black. D5. Reynaldo Castanera. There's some good players here. D5, E takes D5, and then A6 in between move. This is the only way you can make it work. D takes E6, F takes E6, Knight A3. Wow. Richard Pert playing this for real with black. And winning with it. How did they win? Black is a pawn down with a loose structure. Wow. Wow. How do you win this, man? D3. And Reynaldo Roy won his game. It doesn't look so good after all. If you go to the end of this variation, it's not so hot. So there's this move. This is different. This is also playable. Let's take a look at pawn takes D5. Maybe this is worth looking at. Queen takes D5. Queen E7 check. Now white has to play. Well, there's crazy king D1. That's very unclear. So bishop E2. And now bishop G4. This seems plausible. Knight D6 check, king F8. Very complicated. I think that might be a better try for black than what Pert did. Although he was lucky and won. Black plays D6 instead. And this is just a disaster. So very bad position. So Redusa joins the ranks of Pia Kramling. And obviously Morales knows this. So yeah, I mean, I've had this, maybe this happened to me once. This probably happened to me too, like once back in 2000 or something. You know, I played the line a couple times. I had it played against me a couple times in the early. I played it with white in 2003. I played it with black 2003. I had a game in, I think 2000, when I was aware of it, this variation. But online, I've probably walked into this. So now reduce to play bishop b5. Acerbate defense. That almost never works. So best is bishop f8. But there's just a list of victims here. Anna Cantan, streamer. Another 2300. It's one thing if you get trapped in this in 2004, but I mean, 20 years later, it's a little late to be getting caught in this trap. Pia Kramling let it happen in 2014. This is known to be bad. Yeah, Acerbate would have found d5. He knows about that. This is cool. Best try for black. Check. Path is very narrow. Bishop e2, bishop g4, knight d6 check, king f8, and now f3, bishop d7. I mean, what would Morales do? It's scary to take on b7. You got to play queen takes b7, grab another pawn. You have no development. White has to follow a very narrow path here. This is really scary, you know. You have no development. You're pinned on the e-file. Definitely a dynamic try for black. But you're basically forced. So here's the really interesting part. Knight f6 is actually the best move. I did not know that. Who knew that? Holy shit, and white has a fantastic score with a bad move here. This is fucked up, bro. The statistics are totally fucked up. Look at this. This is bullshit. White's 55% winning score. After the move knight b5, black is slightly better, according to the engine. Are you kidding me? Knight b5, castles, knight takes d4, d5. Ildar managed to win a game back in 05. See, it was very popular back in 05. E takes d5. He probably saw Strapunski play it. And now e5. So you got to know this. Knight e2. And now very important move. Bishop f5 apparently. So black knows the perfect moves. Harold Goetz. I played him like 20 years ago. Queen b3. b5. He was playing a fucking computer. b5. And now bishop takes b5 and black is better. Oh my god. He went on to win the game after c4, a6, a4. Dude, white just lost a piece. Holy shit. He won this game. He's down a piece. Unbelievable. So anyway, Morales, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. I just learned something. So knight f6 is the best move. You probably knew that. e5. D takes c. D takes c. And so this is the only move that tests black. Queen b6, 3 draws. But the point is to take with the queen. Diamante, Cornet, and Kovalevskaya, and Oliver Barbosa, pre-grandmaster, against Rogelio. So he takes f6, queen takes f6, and now no one had the cojones. Well, only one of them was a guy, but no one had the cojones to play queen e2 and keep the queens on the board. That kind of makes sense. So everybody just drew after queen takes f6 check. You got to play queen e2. And that's Morales' only chance to play for a win in this line. Chess mod. Chess mod on Chess Mom. Did you see that? That Chess Mood? You know, it was very funny how they gave out prizes to like streamers. But the team that won the prizes was like all Armenians. That's really fucked up. Conspiracy. The streamer who won the prize is this Armenian guy. It was probably fixed. Queen takes f6, queen e2. So, but anyway, I didn't know knight f6 was a move. I never played this line with black. You know, I played it only recently in one game online. I never played this g6. I always played the other lines. So I told you I was white against Putinoi the one time I had this. So anyway, take, queen f3, e6 here, knight b5, d6, queen a3. You have another option there of queen g3. Now that's interesting. Robert Hess, I don't know what he's doing now, but Hess was a student probably of more than one grandmaster, but he studied with Miron Cher. I don't know, if Cher was like an English player. He passed away. But Hess was very impressive for a while. I remember him playing this. Probably Strapunski too. You know, he probably got it from Strapunski. So queen g3 is interesting. You know, maybe this move has some advantages. e5. That's not possible with queen a3. So Hess's opponent didn't play e5. So e5 is important because now you're not attacking that. Queen b3, knight h6, queen b4, and now bishop f8. Black can just hang on. Alright, anyway. So Reducer didn't know the line. He'll learn his lesson. Bishop e5 is really bad. And so simply d3. Well, your move is good too. You're threatening f4. Diamante. So Diamante Cornet is Matthew Cornet's wife. She's like Brazilian or something, originally. Okay. I never met her. A6, F4, and I think black is done. So this is black's last chance. Ryan Harper, that's an FM from Jamaica, I think. Jamaica or Trinidad. Somewhere in the Caribbean. G5 is black's only chance. Zvereva. Only chance. Stop F4. Obviously. I would play G5. And now, okay, takes. Problem is check. No. You have to take on A8. It looks like black is getting that, but you get the E5 bishop, yeah. You're up a piece. You're up 2 pieces. You're up the exchange. Whatever. I'm trying to speak English. Oh my god, this position happened. Olga Stajkina. There's all these Stajkinas. There's the father. They're Ukrainians. I played the father. He has a daughter who's very good. This must be like the wife or something. I had a draw with the father. He played a Grand Prix attack. No, we had a closed Sicilian. Their family specializes in closed Sicilians. Yeah, he's exchanged out. Black's totally lost. Redusa doesn't resign. He always plays it out. Like, way too long. Morales was trying to mess this up, it looks like. You did your best to try to screw it up. That knight, though, man, it finally found a square on G6. Look at that. Oh, the D3 pawn. Just when it looked like black had hope. And it's over. Alright, well, guys, it was fun. Some interesting games today. I enjoyed analyzing with you, even if nobody donated. Nobody donated to the stream. I don't know how I'm going to get to the World Senior Team Championship, but we'll see. We've got a little bit of time left. But please subscribe and gift sub. We'll be back, hopefully, if I don't have insomnia. We'll be back tomorrow with some Blitz challenges in the midday. And then Sunday is my flagship stream, our weekly Sunday simul with classical time control here on Lichess every Sunday. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for not donating. And thanks Morales for the gift sub. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. And I enjoyed the analysis, although this is my least popular stream because people don't like to take chess seriously. I think there's a cultural phenomenon for not, about not thinking. But I don't care. We're going to try to learn something from the stream. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.